first day of school, on my first day of teaching middle school. It is about 6:45. And those of you that are new to my channel, I know I picked up quite a few new subscribers over summer break with the whole classroom setup process. And hopefully by this point you've seen the classroom tour. If you're new, this is what I typically do. I do weekly school vlogs. So today is my very first day of being a middle school teacher. I'm on my way to Starbucks to get my favorite drink, which is a vanilla sweet cream cold brew with extra cream, to get the day started and go from there. So as far as how I'm feeling on this particular first day of school, given the fact that it's a change, I'm feeling a lot of things. I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling confident yet not confident at the same time, if that makes sense. Like I've told a lot of people, my concern isn't really so much the kids or the age, it's just the middle school setting, like with the scheduling and making sure I know when kids are coming and going and what I need to do. The nice thing for me, especially today, with it being my first day teaching middle school, is that the way my schedule is arranged, I don't do any heavy lifting until, like, I have a good 2 hours before that happens. So the way my schedule is the kids start school at 8. I have my homeroom class for 10 minutes, so from 8 to 8:10. And then they go to their electives. My elective is leadership. And I'm taking over this very big responsibility from the teacher that was going to be my partner teacher. She has since been put into a new position that is great for her, and so they asked if I would be willing to do leadership. I said yes. I had a couple of questions because it is a big responsibility. I said yes, as long as I could get those questions answered and I had support, which it sounds like I'll have plenty of. So she's going to be coming in to kind of pass the torch during elective, to let the kids know that she won't be their leadership teacher, but that I will. And so she'll be in charge of that, or taking the lead on that. And then after that elective period, I have my prep period, which goes from 9 to 9:50, I believe. So the nice thing about that schedule today is that I have a little time to kind of like interact with some of the kids, just kind of breathe, relax, and then go from there. I think today is going to go super fast because it is a minimum day. Now, when I taught elementary school in the same district, every Monday was a minimum day. And that was really because elementary teachers at the time that was developed had no prep periods at all. Like, we didn't have specials, we didn't have PE 2 times a week like we do now. So those minimum days were meant for us to have a little bit of prep time and or have a staff meeting every now and then. At the middle school level, they only have minimum days every so many weeks. So I won't be having that minimum day every day, which is okay because I will be gaining a prep period every day. So yeah, my classroom, I'm happy with the way it turned out. Again, I hope the classroom tour is up by this point. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm excited, I'm nervous, and all of that. So I don't know how much I'll check in with you during the course of the day, because I think it's going to be hectic. But as soon as I have a chance to check in and let you know how it's going or how it went, I will be sure to do that. But yeah, wish me luck. It is the next day. I vlogged on the way to my first day of middle school yesterday. Had every single intention of checking in throughout the day, and I just couldn't. Because not that the day went poorly, it was just really quick, really fast. A lot of things were coming at me. A lot of people were checking in on me, so I just didn't really have the time to pick up the camera. And I had to really just tell myself, it's okay. You have great subscribers. They'll understand. And then my intention was to go home and rehash the day in the comfort of my own living room. And then I got home and just got so excited to take a shower and wash the makeup off my face that by the time I washed the makeup off my face, I realized I never checked in, and I certainly wasn't going to check in with no makeup on, because you guys don't deserve that. So it is Tuesday, my second day of school, August 6th. Overall, my first day of school went as well as I think any first day of school can go for someone who's kind of in my position. I enjoyed it. The first 10 minutes, I'm not gonna lie, were a little scary because there was this really awkward silence in the beginning. And I was like, oh my God, the kids don't like me. What am I gonna do? But I think it was a combination of it being the first day of school, them being old and grown, and probably me just being a little unsure of myself to some degree. By the end of the day, that was my homeroom class, warmed up. So basically what I have is I have a homeroom class of 25 students. They start the day with me for the first 10 minutes. They go off to their elective. I get an elective class. Then I'll have a universal access class, which is not like my official roster of kids. And then my homeroom class comes back, and then I have a switch class where I repeat the same language arts and social studies lesson that I taught to my homeroom class. So my homeroom class is a little bit more harder to warm up in some ways than my switch class, but I really do generally like both classes. I had a moment today with one of the 8th graders that I really like. Just the interaction I had with him and his tone and his demeanor just reminded me that at the end of the day, they're just kids. They're just older kids. They still have some of the same worries and anxieties and all of that. And so it went really well. I highly recommend this activity that I did yesterday, especially with older kids. I'm having to vlog on my phone because I brought my vlogging camera, but there's no memory card in there, so that's not gonna work. But let me see if I can turn it around for you guys. So this came from the book Better Than Carrots and Sticks. So I'm gonna flip this around. So yesterday, one of the things that I did with both classes, which is why you see 4 posters, because there's 2 posters per each class, is there was one poster where they put on their Post-it note what they want out of a teacher. So I said, if you could craft the perfect teacher, or if you have a favorite teacher, what was it about them that made them great, or what is it that you want in the perfect teacher? So they wrote that down on their Post-it note. We did share a couple, and I was honestly surprised by some of the things that they said. Like, it was very true and it was very well thought out. So I'm gonna read this one. It says they want the teacher to be nice and persistent and outgoing, I think it says for award to motivate children, and takes their time on with students individually. So from the kids that I asked to share, or that were voluntold to share, none of them said anything outrageous. They all said things that you would hope a kid would say. And what I really like about it is it really gave me a very quick sense of what's important to them, what they're looking for, and what they need. And then after that, we did the same where they talked about what they thought a teacher wanted. Sorry, I'm having to adjust my phone here. I'm sitting you back on top of my mailboxes. So that was not my idea. I did not come up with that. That came from one of the chapters in Better Than Carrots and Sticks. And I will try and remember to link that in the description box. So it went really well. It was really fast. Today was my first full day. It's a little different because they are iReady testing, so the schedule is a little off with my partner and I. But it was great. I feel like we got to know each other a little bit better, had a little bit more fun together. I'm at the point where, have I gone over every single rule and procedure in my class? No, but I'm kind of over that, and I want to get into like the thick of teaching so that we can get a sense of consistency and realness going on. My partner teacher, my switch partner, I'm not going to say her name because I haven't confirmed with her that she's allowed or she's comfortable with me doing that. The nice thing about it is that we have a lot of commonalities in terms of our approach to kids. So we both come from a place of like, look, I can be really chill and we can do great things and have a lot of fun, but there is still a certain standard that we need to work on. And
you know, we just want the kids to feel appreciated and valued. We're not really super strict authoritarians, but we know how to kind of turn that on and turn that off when we need to. So I think that's great. It seems to be a good fit. So I'm happy about that. Right now, I'm just labeling their weekly folders. This is something that I am going to continue to do in middle school. It's either going to work or it's not, but I'm not going to know until I try. So tomorrow will be the first Wednesday that they take these folders home. There's not going to be a ton of stuff in it. I'm here late today. I'm getting ready to go. It's almost 6 because we have back to school night tomorrow, and I needed to majorly tweak the back to school night presentation I've used before because I no longer teach elementary school, and there's things that needed to be altered and added. So I just finished editing the portions that we'll do together because we will present together in my room. And then I just sent it to her. She's going to add her slides and we'll probably go over it again tomorrow. So I just finished labeling the folders for my homeroom class. That's going to go in their mailbox that you guys saw in the classroom tour. And now I'm getting ready to label the ones that go into the switch mailboxes. And I just made that face because at this point, I haven't filmed the classroom tour video yet, but I'm gonna. So, yeah, but I wanted to check in. Yesterday was great. Today was great. I am really enjoying it. I do genuinely feel more natural and more comfortable in my own skin as a teacher with these older kids. They definitely are going to try and test me and push me, but I think I'm okay with it. I think as long as they start to really get a feel of who I am as a teacher and what my intentions are, and we develop that mutual respect for each other, I think it's going to be good. So I talk more, but I really want to go home. So I need to kind of focus, and I will be sure to check in with you guys tomorrow. So I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Hi guys, I'm actually vlogging in my classroom. I got myself together today. So it's now about 10 minutes to 3. School was out about 20 minutes ago. So my schedule is different in terms of start times. So middle school starts at 8 o'clock. When I taught elementary school, it started at 8:15 and it ends therefore 15 minutes earlier. So it ends at 2:30 instead of 2:45. And I can't remember if I mentioned this in a previous vlog, but that makes for slightly more stressful mornings because I have to get here 15 minutes earlier than what I'm used to, which is cutting it kind of close with my Orange Theory schedule. So I've been able to do it. I've gotten here on time, but that's because I'm not having to do my hair because my hair is up in this semi-permanent bun. So when I'm back to my hair being out and flat ironed, we'll see how that goes. As far as today is concerned, today went well. I was a little stressed during leadership because we're kind of in this in-between spot where I haven't had a chance to sit down and plan things with the prior leadership person. So today they finished making these posters that they needed to make to promote a school dance. And so the posters were pretty much done and hung up. So then there was this feeling of like, what will I have them do now? Because I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down, catch my breath, and think of things that I want them to do while they're in between projects. So what ended up happening is they finished the posters, and then I had them just start looking up ideas for an upcoming welcome rally for the 6th graders. That's gonna have like a diner theme. So they started to do that. And at some point I do want them to sit down or, well, work as a group and talk about some of the things that they would like to involve themselves with as members of leadership. So I'd like it to be more than just, you know, organizing dances and things like that. I kind of want them to set an example for like causes or, you know, other ways that they can support the schools. So I was a little panicked there because I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do with them, but it all worked out. As far as the rest of my day with like the real teaching, it was good. The first half of my blocks with my homeroom and my switch class was devoted to them starting their iReady test. So I think on average, both classes are at about 50% or close to 50% of being done. We have to have all of them tested by this Friday. As far as I know with my switch partner, they're all done with math. So we just need to make sure that they finish language arts. And then I did my first, I'm gonna say this was my first that's my elementary life, my first Study Sync lesson. So we used Study Sync a little bit last week, but I wouldn't consider it a lesson because what I just gave them was what's called a blast, which is just this quick little like activity where they're given some background information on something, and then they have to write a blast, which is like the equivalent of them tweeting about the topic. But it wasn't heavy duty teaching. Today was the day where we started getting into the unit. So unit 1 for me is focused on suspense. And I think what's difficult in teaching these lessons is just learning how the T is laid out to make it user-friendly to me, and just becoming familiar with that so that I can feel like I have enough knowledge to kind of make what they're suggesting I do and the order in which I do it my own. So the nice thing is my great little chair shared with me a couple of Google presentations she created to kind of help guide her through these lessons, and I think that's what I'm going to end up doing because it just works easier for me. So let me see if I can show that to you. So what I'm going to be doing is, let's see, let's go to my drive. Do you guys color code your Google Drive? Because I do. This is the one that I did today. So I think what's going to be helpful is just creating these presentations because it helps me to kind of just have a flow, know what I'm saying next, know what things I want to hit, and it cuts out all the fluff that I would probably be fumbling through if I was trying to follow the TE, because the TE is pretty dense. Like, it's got a lot of information, and it's hard to kind of sift through what you want to talk about and what not. So today we talked about the unit, made sure we understood that we're going over suspense. We talked quite a bit about suspense last week and what it means. And then the first little excerpt that they're reading is actually an interview by Alfred Hitchcock. So I decided to show them a video and gave them some background on him. And then I also decided to pull out some phrases and words, some of it based on the suggestion of Study Sync and some of it just based on what I thought I needed to do. I pulled out some phrases or words that I didn't think that they would understand or be familiar with. I'm going to turn on this other light just so that they go into reading this with that understanding so that they can have a better understanding of everything overall. So I pulled out these phrases. Cry for joy, that was suggested by the TE. Work like the devil, whodunits, and puzzlers, to make sure that they understand what that meant. And for the most part, they got it. Well, not for the most part. They knew what cry for joy meant. They were able to figure out what work like the devil meant. And then I just defined for them what a puzzler or whodunit was, because we don't really use those phrases nowadays. So we talked about that ahead of time. And then we also talked about the concept of God. So if they don't understand the concept of God, then they're not really going to understand what Alfred Hitchcock was saying by saying that he lets his audience play God in his movies. So I said, even if you don't believe in God or you're an atheist, everyone generally understands the concept of what God is. God is all-knowing, God is all-powerful. Whatever God wants to happen is what's going to happen. And so I said, think of that as we're listening to this excerpt from this interview. And then we read the passage together. Now, Study Sync suggests that the kids just log onto their Chromebooks and read it, and then you have this discussion. But you and I both know that probably about 50%, if not more, of the kids will probably not read it, or not read it all, or not read it fluently or closely or well enough to be able to understand it. So we read it together. I played the audio, projected it on the screen, and scrolled down as it was being read. But there will come a point where I have them go back and read it again for annotation purposes, and I'll talk about that when that happens. That's probably going to happen maybe tomorrow. I have a sub in the morning. So I definitely think, as time consuming as it's going to be from the beginning, I'm going to need to make these Google Slides for each of these stories, because just with the TE, and I think that's what was going on last week, it's super dense. It's just not laid out in a way where I feel like I can just like glance at it and be like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do right now. So I kind of have to study it first, read through it first, and then highlight the things that I think I'm gonna do, and then put it in this Google presentation, and then include any sort of other clips or more engaging things that I think will help, and also think about, well, what Kagan strategies or cooperative learning strategies, excuse me, could I add in there? And then they had a few minutes, not in my switch class, they had a few minutes in my homeroom class to work on their social studies posters. So we are starting social studies. They are talking about European explorers. Don't want to beat that to death, so they're just making some quick presentation posters to kind of get that first lesson out of the way, and then we're going to go from there and see what happens. So, good Monday. My biggest struggle with middle schoolers is getting them to understand that talking and being collaborative in class is a part of our life. It's so weird because they love to just talk, just freely when it's not necessarily time to talk, but as soon as I say the words, turn to your neighbor or talk with your group, it is like crickets in here. So I keep saying to them, like, you're just gonna have to get used to this, because I, for one, am not gonna be standing up there just lecturing the whole time. So that's how my day went. I'm going to work on some sub plans for tomorrow. It's just a half-day sub, and then my focus is really to leave out of here at a reasonable hour and really start developing some good habits there. And that's it. I think I need to go to, what is that place called? I think I need to go to Office Depot, because I need to get some more of these binder clips for these mailboxes that I showed you guys on my classroom tour. So I need to go buy some more of these binder clips, because I'm gonna have the sub work on this during my prep period tomorrow, because I don't want to lose a prep period. But you see how this mailbox is the one that I've had for years, is numbered. These are just binder clips clipped on there with this free Teachers Pay Teachers product that I got, just numbers on like this chevron pattern. Then I cut them out, taped them on there, and then clipped it on there. So I need to do that for my mailboxes for my homeroom class. So that's what's up. That's probably all I'm gonna say today. Every day gets a little bit better. And yeah, so I guess I will probably talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm just so proud of myself for actually vlogging today, but I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Process of stamping this activity that I did on the first day of school. I got this from my grade level chair, who I believe found this somewhere on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's titled the Investigative Challenge, and then you put your, well, I don't want to show this paper because that's the student name on it, but they were investigating me, basically, trying to figure out what kind of person they thought I was by walking around the room, taking a look at the things that I chose to put up in terms of decoration, or how I arranged the classroom, or anything like that. And then they write down 4 clues. So let me do this. I'll cover the student's name. So they have these 4 little Post-it notes to write these 4 clues. Then they take those clues, discuss with their group, and then write a suspect bio. So write a description of who they think I am based on what they saw. So I'm going to read these. I was supposed to do this days ago, but I just didn't have a chance. I'm going to choose the best one from my homeroom class and my switch class, and then they will get some kind of treat, which will probably be candy, to be quite honest. So in terms of organization with having my classes this way, what I'm going to try and do is set up, or what I have done is I have 2 file folders. One is for my homeroom class, one is for my switch class. I just think that will help me keep things a little bit more organized. And then there's these random papers that are out of place. And then I'm just gonna stick these in their mailboxes once I get a chance to read them, which means I need to go over them tonight, because I'd like to send mail home for the first time tomorrow to kind of establish that routine. So that's just what I've done. I actually put this in the grade book as classwork, and in the process I have noticed that the what is it that I'm trying to say, that The report card at the middle school level seems a little less involved. So for me in my district at the elementary level, for the report card, there's like this overarching category of language arts, but then all these subcategories that you have to have grades input it for. So far for me, language arts, it just is separated by like classwork, homework, tests, and quizzes. And so there's not like a subcategory that says listening and speaking or phonics and word recognition, which is a relief in some way because you don't have to have the stress of like making sure you have multiple types of grades to go in all those subcategories, but also a little weird. Like if I want them to practice listening or speaking, I don't have a specific place just for that, if that makes sense. It's gonna have to be under like a more general category like homework, tests, quizzes, or classwork. So that's what I'm doing. I also made a checklist of things I need to do for myself. I really need to hurry up and go home to cook. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up there. I wanted to leave earlier, but I didn't. I was talking to my switch partner. Her name is Jenna. She said I could say her first name. So just talking to her about some questions she had about homework and things like that, and just hopefully supporting her and giving her some helpful information. So that's why I didn't leave earlier like I thought it would. So today, as far as my day went, I had a half day sub. The first half of the morning, I had a meeting with the 6th grade leadership teacher and 7th grade leadership teacher and the yearbook person and the academic advisor, because we needed to kind of talk about the things that we're doing for leadership or the things that we're responsible for in terms of leadership for the first trimester. And I'm not gonna lie, I left that meeting feeling overwhelmed. Not by the difficulty of what I need to do, just the fact that there's a lot of things that I need to do that have a lot of logistical pieces that need to be put into play. So I don't have anything else to say besides the fact that I was overwhelmed after that meeting. So I need to go home and kind of gather my thoughts about some of that and be ready to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit more tomorrow. The students in leadership have voted for the different positions. I just print out their ballots from Google, or their ballot results from Google Classroom. So I also need to look at that tonight and figure out who's gonna be who. So yeah, that's what I'm about to do. I think I'm about to pack up, get my bearings, go home, cook. I have to run a couple errands before I do all that, cook, and then work until I can't work anymore. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow then. Hello everyone, it is Thursday at about 4:15. I'm getting ready to go home, but I wanted to just kind of jump in, kind of rehash the day a little bit. I took a little bit of footage in the classroom today, but I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna turn out. But today, what I vlogged was social studies. So today was a day where my class had to present the little section they were assigned for social studies to present to their classmates using this strategy called Carousel Present, which I got at a Kagan training a while ago. And basically the way that it works is every table group has 4 members. So all the ones of one table, or all the ones from every table travel together, excuse me, all the 2s from every table group travel together all the way up to the 4s. And what ends up happening is every numbered group will travel to each table group that I have established. So I have 6 table groups. And when you, like let's say I'm traveling with the 1s, but I sit at table number 6. So when my group arrives at table number 6, it is my responsibility to present to the rest of the 1s in the classroom. What I like about this is that everybody in the class has to present, and it's way more efficient, way less threatening for the kids, way more easy for me to manage and grade, because I just kind of go around to each group and I let them know that your grade as a group is going to depend on who I happen to hear. And everybody's held accountable. So the first class that I did this with, it like went wrong. Like there should never come a point where they get to a table group and there's not a representative from that group there, but that did happen the first round, and I was trying to figure out why that happened. And then I said, okay, first I texted someone that's a friend of mine that I thought would know, but then she wasn't 100% sure because I couldn't refer her to the directions I thought I had somewhere, or
she wasn't 100% sure, so she didn't want to answer my question incorrectly. And then I didn't have a chance to text her back, but then I was like, okay, I know I've done this before, and I know that years ago I had emailed the presenter that shared this because this was a strategy that wasn't in the training materials. This was just kind of like an extra strategy that he showed us. And so I remember the first time I wanted to try it, I emailed him and asked for some clarification, and he had emailed me back all the steps. And so I knew that I had saved that somewhere safely. And so then I said, Self, where would you have saved that? And then I remember I stuck it in the binder, and sure enough, it was in the binder. And so what I had done wrong the first time is I had made number groups based on the number of table groups that I had. So I numbered the kids off 1 through 6, and that made it so that there were multiple times where they got to a table group and there was no representative from that table group there. So when the second round came and I did this lesson again, I did it correctly and remembered I'm not supposed to number them based or group them based on the number of table groups. I'm supposed to group them based on their seat number, and then problem was solved. So at the end, oh, and as a part of this, the kids present their posters, and I'll show you a couple. They came out, for the most part, they came out pretty good. There were some that could have used a little bit more effort. So I hung them up just now. I don't love that there's no symmetry in me hanging these, but there was really nowhere else for me to put them. So the kids were told, we talked about a carousel and what a carousel does, and I explained to the kids that, you know, they should have practiced what they were going to say. So I gave them class time to come up with the script. They should have practiced it when they went home last night. I gave them an additional 10 minutes today to kind of go over their presentation, share it with their group members so that each group member feels confident in the others that they are prepared when it comes time for them to present, in case that happens to be the student that their grade is based on. So they present, and the people that are in the group that are listening just listen during the presentation, and the presentation is really only like 2 minutes long, and then they leave either constructive feedback, a compliment, or ask a question, and they use a post-it note. So I have all these post-it notes here, and they stick the post-it note either on the poster or around it. And at the end of it, I said, I have some constructive feedback for you. First thing that I said is, when I walked around and looked at some of their feedback on these post-it notes, 99% of the post-it notes just said, good job, good job, good job. So I said, guys, that really doesn't mean anything. You haven't told them what exactly they did a good job on. And I said, and quite honestly, that's like being lazy. So then I said, you need to be specific in your feedback. What exactly, sorry, I thought someone was coming in here. What exactly did they do a good job on? Secondly, of course, you had some kids that were off task while they were being presented too. So playing around, talking, blah, blah, blah. So I had to like nip some of that in the bud. And then lastly, just letting them know, be comfortable with having or giving constructive feedback, because I said there were a couple of places that I went and some presentations that I heard where the person wasn't super engaging. They weren't making eye contact. I could barely hear them. It was very monotone. And I said, so you're only doing this to help each other so that the next time we do this, they're better prepared. And I said, and some of you weren't prepared. So during that 10 minutes I gave them before they started to kind of go over their script, some of them were actually having to write it. And so I did let them know, if you came in and you had to use that 10 minutes to write down your script, there really was no excuse for that, and now I know that you're not quite prepared. So I talked about the fact that we can all acknowledge that throughout all of the presentations we heard a couple people that were not prepared, and those of you that weren't prepared, it feels awkward. You feel stressed and whatever. So they definitely liked doing this style more than presenting up at the front of the classroom all by themselves for the most part. There were a couple of students that said they prefer to present that way, but the vast majority preferred this. So I wanted to have the post-it notes on display with the posters, but the post-it notes are falling down, they're not sticking, so that isn't gonna happen. But at the end of everything, you do give the kids a few moments to kind of read over the constructive feedback so they can see what their peers had to say. So we did that. I did a grammar lesson with Study Sync, started talking about annotations, and as we get into that a little bit more, I'll talk in more detail about that. As far as leadership, I'm going to really try and be very organized with this group of kids. So I told them that we're gonna have meetings on Mondays, and I'm gonna try and implement Robert's Rules of Order in these meetings. You know, when you have to make a motion to do things and you need a second and all of that. But we have a dance that we're in charge of, and so they have their committees, and they really started working on that. And it's been, it's been fun, like just teaching them how to send a professional email to another teacher or adult on campus if you have a question. So I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. But also, honestly, it's a little stressful because it's a big responsibility. So it's about 4:30. I really do need to go home. I'm going to meet a friend of mine for dinner who is in town, a high school friend of mine that lives on the East Coast now. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't know if she wants me to or not. But I'm supposed to meet her for dinner at 6, and I really need to get some work done. But honestly, I still enjoy it. I still like it. I literally just feel like I need a day or two to get my life together. I do not like living one day to the next or planning one day at a time. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, out of the nature of the reality of the fact that everything is new to me. So I gotta take my time. So anywho, let me go. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll check in. So I'll see you then. Good morning. It's Friday. It's 7 o'clock. Let me tell you what I did today. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, which is approximately the time that I would wake up to go to Orange Theory. I canceled my class last night and decided I was going to wake up at 4:30, get dressed early so that I have some time to work before work, because that's where I'm at. I refuse to be living like this for too much longer. So I got up, I got dressed, I've been downstairs for about an hour and a half, just trying to work through some lesson plans and like get myself together. I did not get as much as I wanted to get done, but I got some things done. I at least feel better about what's happening in my classroom today, and that's progress. So it's 7 now. I need to be at work at 7:30, so I'm getting ready to change. I mean, I'm wearing my top, but right now I'm wearing my pajama bottoms, my shorts. So I need to put on some jeans to get to work, but I need this feeling to go away as soon as possible. So I'm going to be putting in whatever hours I need to do to just kind of give myself that peace of mind. So it's Friday. Happy Friday. Wish me luck today. I hope to get more done today so that I can actually go into this weekend with less work or less anxiety. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted throughout the day, but I'll talk to you later.